What's up, everybody? My name is Bobby, and today I decided to use Reason to sample something funny that I found on the internet. Let's check it out.
I was world.
So I thought a bunch of those sounds were really fun and thought it'd be fun to sample. So I made like a little mini track out of it in about an hour, and here's some of the ways that I had used the sound. So what made this jump out at me initially was the sound of him hitting the mat, this right here. First off, the space within the sound, because they're in this giant open gymnasium warehouse type room, the natural space sounds huge. On top of that, it's not only percussive, there's a little bit of a melodic element to it as well. So when he's saying squirrel, some of that is held over from when he initially hits the mat. And it creates this kind of pitched percussive sound. It reminds me of like an old school 90s orchestra hit. So the first thing I did was I chopped that up and I put it on into a little kick pattern. And like I said, there is this slight melodic element to it, so I pitched it around to make a little, almost like a bassline melody. So to give it a little bit of extra movement, I also automated the low cut frequency on this GQ7. It gives it like a little bit of a vowel-y quality to it. And then it was time to think of a lead. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do right away. But I thought that this very last sound here... So I took that sound, I chopped it out, moved it onto its own track, added a little fade at the end, and then I bounced it to new samples. So I took that sample and dumped it into the NNXT. That way I could play it back on the keyboard using MIDI. Added a couple little effects, some reverb, some distortion, a really quick delay, and some EQ to clean it up. And after some playing around, I came up with this melody. Kind of simple, but I thought it complemented what I already had going pretty well. For the build-up, I decided to chop up some of the words that he was saying. So if we take a look at this specifically right here. That's slowed down pretty significantly. When you double-click on something, you can go into slice edit mode, and then you can start to manipulate the individual slices. And then change the overall timing. Taking the time in slice edit mode to quantize whatever you're working on and to manipulate that overall timing will make making these little chants a lot easier for you. So for this chant, I used I'm a squirrel and then a little woo that was in the middle of it. And then for the second half of it, I used that woo. So a couple of things that are going on here. Number one, I'm speeding up that woo as time goes on. You can do this by selecting a clip, holding Option or Alt, and going over to the arrows on the side, and you'll get that little clock. This allows you to stretch or compress that clip. I'm then using kilohertz frequency shifter and bumping it up slightly as time goes on. And then on kilohertz delay, I'm automating the mix as well as the delay time. I've got it set to milliseconds, and it's going really, really fast, so it creates this more tonal delay. There's also a few instances where I didn't really manipulate the sample too much. I just kind of grabbed a part of it and used it within the song. For example, this duh sound that he makes after he gets up. I used that as like an offbeat chant. I also used that same woo sound from the build-up to complement the main melody. Since I have pretty similar timbres, it was really easy for me to just throw that in at the end of the measure to kind of signal to the listener that the measure's ending and it's time for a quick change. After 6 bars of everything going full bore, I do a little callback to the build-up chant thing. Doing this creates a nice little turnaround. It helps remind the listener of what they're listening to, and it keeps the song sounding a lot more cohesive. For the second half of the drop, I decided to just duplicate the NNXT and modify the patch a little bit. I had to play the exact same melody, but I dropped all the notes by 1 octave, And then I use the mod envelope within the NXT to modulate the pitch of the sample itself. So it has this little chirp at the very beginning now. But yeah, I love doing things like this because it's just pure uninhibited creativity. It's a quick idea that I had and you just run with it and see where you end up. You don't know where you're going exactly. You had a quick idea and see what it pans out to be. I mean, this is somebody yelling, "I'm a squirrel," falling face first onto a mat, making a bunch of goofy sounds as he runs across a warehouse and then jumps off a thing into a foam pit.
I'm a squirrel. I'm a squirrel.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you found this fun and maybe educational as well, even though we're sampling some really random stuff here. Take care. Till next time. See you later.